Good morning. My name is Bill Ford, and I am participating in the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts Local Artists Live series. Wave. Okay. All right. Good. Hi, I'm Bill Ford, and this is the latest in the series Local Artists Live from the Montgomery Museum of Fine Art. And before we start off today, before I start off, I'd like to take this time to address a very disturbing memory that I'm sure that most of us who are old enough to remember, some of the younger people out there don't. But 20 years ago today, we had one of the worst disasters in our country's history. And I'm talking about the attack on the United States, New York, and Washington. The Twin Towers fell, and the plane attack on the Pentagon. And I think it would be appropriate for us to take a few moments to reflect, maybe 10 or 15 seconds of silence to reflect on that terrible day and to remember all of the lives that were lost and the incredible series of events that it set us on as a nation. We just brought our troops home from Afghanistan as a result of that. So without any further gabbing from me, let's just take 10 or 15 seconds to silently remember the people and the lives that were lost. Okay, I have to confess that as I was sitting here thinking about that, it took me back to that day, and it's just a horrible memory because I, like so many people, saw the second plane hit live as I was watching coverage, and I remember thinking that he's going to hit the building. I thought it was a mistake. Little did I know that it was just the second plane. But anyway, on a brighter note, my name is Bill Ford, and I'm a local artist, and I am live. This is my first live ever, and my first Instagram live. This is the first time I've ever attempted anything like this, and I'd like to thank Laura Boquin because she had two babies on her hands this morning, her son, and of course me, her son Fitz, who's going through a little something. Get well soon, Fitz, and me, because I'm totally out of my element. This is definitely something that I'm not comfortable with, but I'm going to soldier through. I'm Bill Ford, and I'm Bill Ford Jr. And Bill Ford Jr., my dad, Bill Ford Sr., was an artist. And so, like most boys, I grew up wanting to be just like my dad. I remember sitting on his lap and asking him to draw Bugs Bunny or the Lone Ranger or anybody else, and he magically drew it, and to me that was magic. I admired him so much in so many different ways, but his talent as an artist was always something that I remember being so impressed by. As a matter of fact, when I first went to school and heard about Hans Holbein the Elder and Hans Holbein the Younger, I was like, well, I'm Bill Ford the Younger. So that was my course was set for me from an early age because of my great admiration and wanting to emulate my father. So that put me on a course. Ironically, the school I attended for 12 years, St. Jude's Educational Institute, we did not have an art program per se. We had some nuns who were kind of artists, but they, and sometimes we had little art exercises, but we didn't have an art program. But luckily for me, I had my art teacher at home every day, and because he was an art teacher and an artist, I got that kind of instruction at home, and it was hey, my birthday twin. Who is this? Oh, Andy Carson. Happy birthday twin. It's not my birthday yet, but I didn't know that. And hey to everybody who's on here. Again, excuse me for being really ignorant as to how this process works, because this is the first time I've ever done a live. So, but yeah, my former art training, aside from working with my dad, happened when I went to Alabama State University, and this was in the early '70s, and it was quite an eye opener. Coming from the structured environment at St. Jude's and then going to Alabama State, where for the first time nobody was checking to see if you were going to class, or nobody cared if you showed up or not unless you had a concerned instructor or professor. And it was the tail end of the '60s, and so we were partying. But I have to admit, I went to school with some of the most incredible artists, you know, Fisho, uh, uh, Walt Thomas, James Tatum, Norman Williams. The list goes on and on. We had quite a talented group of artists when I started at Alabama State, and the instructors were no less impressive. Dr. Britt, John Hall, William Henderson, doctors Callie Warren, and all of the instructors, Kathleen Skirka. We had quite a few outstanding instructors, and for the first time, I really learned how to use my innate talent and apply it. One of the most impactful instructors for me was William Henderson, who was William Henderson was a polymath. The dude was just incredible, kind of eccentric, as artists tend to be. But early on, he invited some of us to his. He lived on faculty circle, so he invited some of us to his apartment to let us see his work, because I think he saw that we were kind of skeptical. His demeanor was a bit gruff and dismissive. And when we all walked over to his apartment, it was about 4 or 5 of us, Perry Manuel, myself, and some other guys, and we walked over there and saw his work. It was transformative, and his method of teaching was such that for the first time he made me see art as a problem solving thing. An artist is a person that you come to with a problem and we take care of it. And so I credit a lot of my ability and my approach to art to William Henderson. For instance, in one design class, we all collectively created the set design for a play that was put on by the drama department, Hansel and Gretel. And it was a bang up job because we attacked it as a group, and Henderson made me understand that about art. Art is about solving problems in a lot of ways. He was a graphic designer. But at any rate, my particular skill set, I grew up in the traditional, using the traditional tools of an artist. Of course, with my father being an art teacher, drawing and painting and sculpture. And that's what I did for the most part until meeting William Henderson. And he had a printmaking class that I took, and Introduced me to silk screening and and um, and lithographs, and so that was an eye opener for me because it for one thing I liked the idea in silk screening and making prints that you can reproduce more than one copy of work as opposed to working on something for a time and then having the piece be singular. With silk screening and lithographs, you can create a master or create the stencil and then run off multiple copies, which I thought was fantastic. I remember the first time I pulled a piece from a screen that I did, a silk screen. Dr. Britt was walking through the studio, and I looked at the piece and I said, I may never paint again. And he was alarmed by it. He said, don't say that, Ford. But it was just so amazing to me that you could print multiple copies of your work. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna now. I have to admit that I I have to admit that I probably um, silk screening and serigraphy and that kind of stuff. It probably introduced me to my life's future path, so to speak, because it started thinking of art in a different way as opposed to being a singular object. It was something that could be applied in multiple ways, and I sort of went from fine art to graphic art in a way. But some of my earliest heroes, like Andy Warhol, were fine artists as well as graphic artists, and I kind of see the two as being uh, two sides of a coin. Now, earlier I was, and right now even my Instagram does not allow me to show you a photograph, and that was rather alarming to me. But I'm going to try and just turn this camera around so you can see this first silk screen that I ever did. Or, okay, yeah, because I don't even see the little things where I can reverse the camera. So I'm going to turn this camera around, and hopefully you can see this. This is the silk screen that I did in 1976. It's a piece of Diana Ross. Now, why I didn't add her hair is beyond me. And as I said, there were several copies of this. And on one copy, the words Diana scroll along the side, are written on the side vertically. And then in another piece, I actually added hair. But this piece, I kind of like the starkness of her not having any hair for some odd reason. But this is, I think I did 16 copies of this piece, and this was the one that I saved back for myself. So I don't know where the other copies are now. But that was my first silk screen. That was my first experience doing a silk screen. And prior to that, I painted and drew in the traditional fashion. This is a piece from 1978 that I was just playing around with Art Deco, trying to do something that was Art Deco-ish. And so this piece is from 1978. And let's see here. I think you can see that. This is a black couple. And that piece, I tend to like to do things large. That piece is about, I think it's about 3 feet by 5 feet. And I've kept that piece around the house because I kind of did it more to decorate stuff, to decorate the house. I was like, I need a piece that's going to set a certain style or tone when people come in. In this piece, wait a minute, might not be time for that piece. Let's see. I'm trying to do these in chronological order, or around the time I did them. So this piece is a piece that I did for a show downtown in the old Alabama Artist Gallery. We had a group of artists called the Black Artist Alliance, and of course the letters were BAA. So we had a black ram as our logo, the Black Artists Alliance, and we did a show at the Alabama Artist Gallery on Super Bowl Sunday. I think it was in like 1982, something like that. But this is a piece that I called I Can't Be Faded, because I was influenced by the Fauvists, and this is a piece of Muhammad Ali. So there you go. That's I Can't Be Faded. Muhammad Ali is a particular hero of mine, and that piece is about 3 feet by 4 feet, 3 by 5, something like that. I like to work large, and that's really something that I think set me on the path of what I really ended up doing, because I just like pieces that are large and have impact, and so it sort of carries on. Now this piece is not nearly as large as that, but this is a piece that I did back in right after I saw Spike Lee's Malcolm X. That movie, Malcolm X, was a particular hero of mine back in the day, and when I went and saw the movie, I was really perturbed by the casting of Denzel Washington as the main character, because Malcolm X, his nickname was Red, because in the black community, for those of you who don't know, okay, I see a question. The Muhammad Ali piece is not a print. That piece is actually old style. That's acrylic on wood. And so again, this is the kind of thing that I back in the days before I started doing prints, and I worked in the typical style, and it was acrylic. I love acrylics. But this piece that I did after seeing the Malcolm X movie, I was perturbed that Denzel Washington is a fine actor, but he's not Red, and Red spoke to his complexion. Malcolm X was a lighter skinned black man, and Denzel Washington is not. So after seeing the movie, I thought Denzel did a great job, but it just perturbed me that he doesn't look like Malcolm X to me. And the actor who was originally chosen to play Malcolm X by Spike Lee actually looked like he was a dead ringer for Malcolm X, but the studio wanted a name. They didn't think that the movie with this actor, whose name escapes me right now, he was one of the 5 heartbeats, and he also played in the Matrix series too. I can't think of his name right now, but he was Red. So after seeing the movie that night, I went home and turned this piece out, because I wanted to make a statement about Malcolm X was Red. So there you see it. That's yeah, that's the Malcolm X piece. That's Red, and I did it in red because I was making a statement. Malcolm X should have been read. That was also in the Alabama Artist Gallery, the old Alabama Artist Gallery back in the day when we used to be on my own time. I don't know how many of you people remember that, but all the businesses in Montgomery used to get together and do stuff. Have in-house art shows, and then they'd have the competition downtown, and that piece won Best in Show. So eventually I ended up at WSFA as the art director. I was the art director at WSFA for 22 years, 22 years. And what it did was, working at WSFA, I used to answer the phone art department, and it was always a joke to me because there was no art department. It was just me, WSFA, and Montgomery being a small market. I kind of had to do it all, from making ID badges to designing billboards and doing stuff for sales, on-air stuff, and designing logos and stuff, and putting the signage on cars and all that kind of stuff. But it introduced me to some technology, and just like with silk screening and lithography, the advent of computers. Kind of, as an artist, I saw computers as just another tool to use. The art director before me was named Bill Weldon, and he was an artist, and we were in his office one day, and this is before I became art director. I started as a studio technician, and Bill was decrying the use of computers. He was saying, computers, anybody can use a computer. And I told him, I said, yeah, you're right. Anybody can use a computer, but a synthesizer is a computer. And anybody can use a synthesizer. But give a synthesizer to Stevie Wonder and see what Stevie Wonder does with a synthesizer. And to me, that's the analogy that I like to use. Anybody can use a computer, but not everybody is an artist. And working at WSFA really introduced me to computers and plotters, and I took to it like fish to water because of my background in graphic art. And this is a piece that I started that I used. Again, I'm going to show you some of my tools. This is what I typically use right here. This is it right here. This digitizing pen and this Wacom board. To me, this is like a piece of paper and a pencil. This is a pencil, and that's like a piece of paper. Now, the pencil has a lot of neat stuff attached to it, and a lot of neat stuff you can do with this, but still, you still have to be an artist. You still have to have artistic sensibilities. I used to tell people all the time, WSFA pays me for my artistic sensibilities. I'm checking my time here. WSFA pays me for my artistic sensibilities, and so that was something that I by using a plotter and using a computer, I started using that to do large scale projects. Which really, now this piece right here is old school piece. That's an old style piece there. Again, doing that. That's a acrylic, a piece of acrylic paint. That's the old school way of doing things. I think of it as old school and new school. But by using the computers, and then even sometimes you can do hybrids. Like this is a hybrid piece that I like a lot. Usually my pieces are speaking to something. This piece, this Obama piece that many of you are probably familiar with, that piece was done after listening to a early morning radio show, Tom Joyner Morning Show. They were talking about the first comic book that had an African American as the protagonist. It was called Lobo, and they printed one issue and they sent it to all the distributors, and in a couple of weeks they all came back unopened because the distributor says nobody wants a comic book with a black protagonist. And it just struck me so the question was, I mean, they were readying a second issue, but they never issued the second edition because the first one was rejected. And at the time, Obama was in his first term, and I was wondering, I used this as an analogy because I didn't change any of the verbiage on it. An honest man blamed for a crime he didn't commit. I thought all that really spoke to Obama. And so I use that as an allegory to do that piece. And this piece that many of you probably can see, have seen, it's the piece that's in front of the Rufus Lewis Library. And by using computers and doing things digitally, you can really do large-scale pieces that would take a lot more time and energy and effort if you did it the old-fashioned way. I'd have to be exposed to the elements, but I can sit right here at this computer and with this digitizing tablet and do large-scale pieces. And this is let's see here. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of, I don't know. I hope you were able to see that. If you weren't, you have to go over on Mobile Highway and see it. It's a piece that that commemorates the 50th anniversary of the Selma to Montgomery March, the original march, and the 60th anniversary of the bus boycott, and as well as commemorating when Barack Obama came to observe the I think it was the 45th anniversary. He came to observe the mural. And then this last piece I'm going to show, because I know I'm running out of time, and it's the piece that's on it again by using computers. You know, that this is one of the series of murals that I did for the main library, for the lobby of the main library. Now, I got 3 minutes. I'm sorry. I ran my mouth too long. Okay, yeah. Sunny. Can't live without that whack-em. That's right. Me either. So, I don't know. If anybody has any questions, I can take a couple of minutes to answer stuff. If not, we only got 2 minutes left in this. So, if anybody have any questions, I'd be willing to answer some if anybody's got any. Nope, no questions? Okay, well, I enjoyed this. I apologize for being such a novice and being so uninformed. I mean, poor Laura was definitely had her hands full this morning with 2 babies, because I was panicking and hyperventilating. But you know, this process turned out to be not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and hopefully I'm going to treat myself to going fishing after this before watching a little football. So thanks to everybody who joined me. I'm sorry I wasn't better organized, but it wasn't all my fault. These pictures would have been better if I could have just showed them to you on the screen instead of turning the phone around. But thanks for tuning in. And thanks to the Montgomery Museum of Fine Art for offering this forum for artists, for local artists. And really appreciate it. And I feel honored. I've seen some of the people who have participated in this, and I feel honored and humbled. I'm not worthy, but thank you all for the kind words. I appreciate it. Again, let's not forget the lives that were lost on 9/11 20 years ago. It was a terrible day for our nation, but we bounced back. We're in the middle of another crisis, and hopefully we can join together with the same sense of spirit and cooperation and community that we had on 9/11 to overcome this challenge that we're facing right now. So again, thank you so very much, and I appreciate the forum. Everybody have a great day. Okay. 10:30. How do I guess that's the way you do it. Wave. Bye-bye. I don't know how to end it. Okay. Pin comment. I don't even see my doohickey. How do I end this without just hitting end? Join. Jeremy Oates. Jeremy Oates! What's up, Jeremy? Long time no see, dude. Wow. My old friend Jeremy Oates. He used to work with me at WSFA. Haven't seen him in forever. At the top right. Just hit the X at the top right. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.